And welcome aboard, everybody, here to the Sports Talk Nation. Michael Cohen here with you. A lot to discuss, especially after a busy week regarding the New York Jets. Joe Douglas, Robert Saleh came out at a press conference with the New York media and addressed, well, not really addressed. We'll kind of discussed a little bit about the issues going on here with the quarterback conundrum that is the New York Jets. The Jets quarterback drama just gets more and more intense by the day, by the hour, by the week, and this week is certainly has catapulted even more rumors and speculation after Joe Douglas came out and gave really a half-hearted not even an endorsement for that matter. I wouldn't even go that far. Alluded to the possibility that the Jets would be willing to trade Sam Darnold, even though they do like Darnold. And like his ability and like his talent level, they are more than willing to discuss trade offers for him. And I found it funny and ironic in a lot of ways that Douglas went out of his way to tell the media saying that the Jets' position on Sam Darnold hasn't changed. Well, it has changed because if you go back over the last year and a half since Douglas has been the general manager, before this offseason, he has gone out of his way to endorse Sam Darnold, call him the team's franchise quarterback, even went out of his way to say that he had spoken to Darnold's parents at one point and said he would do everything in his power to get protection and help for his quarterback. Well, that has not worked out that way. The Jets are obviously trying to shop Sam Darnold. Would they like to go out there and get Deshaun Watson? I don't know, but let's just be honest for that matter. There are a lot of teams that would like to go out there and get Deshaun Watson. Will it happen for the Jets? Probably not. If you listen to all the rumors and speculation out there, teams like the Carolina Panthers, Chicago Bears, even the Denver Broncos seem to be more heavily rumored at this point than the Jets are. The Jets are certainly still in the mix as far as the rumor mill is concerned, as are the Miami Dolphins, but it doesn't seem like it's going to happen, and the Texans appear more than willing to let Deshaun Watson hold out for as long as he wants, even if it means missing preseason and regular season games next fall. And they will be recouping as much money as they can. They are not willing at this point, are the Texans, to trade Deshaun Watson. At least that's what's coming out right now. I would imagine that storyline will change when we get closer and closer to the draft over the next 7 weeks or so. But for the time being, let's assume that the Jets are out of the Deshaun Watson mix. And let's just assume that even if Watson was traded, they probably aren't going to get him anyway. So that leaves the Jets with these options. Either A, stick with Sam Darnold, or B, trade Sam Darnold and go after one of these young quarterbacks in the draft. In other words, for the Jets, go out there and do what the Jets have done seemingly every 2 to 3 years, and that's go out there and try to pick another quarterback out of the draft. And before I go into talking about, should they go with Wilson? Should they go with Fields? Should they stick with Darnold? This is the one thing that I have a big concern of with regards to the Jets, and this is my big hang-up with them. This franchise has started and restarted and started and restarted with the quarterback position so many times. Go back to 2009. Let's go back to 2009. Drafted Mark Sanchez. Basically, 3-4 years later, he is out the door. The Jets are going out there bringing in Geno Smith. That doesn't work. They go out there and they draft Christian Hackenberg in the second round. Obviously, that guy never even saw the field. Then what do? They go out there and get Sam Darnold. So over the last 10, 11 years, this franchise has, and I even have to throw Bryce Petty in there as well, has drafted 5 different quarterbacks, one of whom never even saw the field in Hackenberg. 5 different quarterbacks. They have had 2 starting quarterbacks who were well over the age of 35 in guys like Josh McCown and Ryan Fitzpatrick. They have never found that franchise quarterback. This franchise just can't seem to get it right when it comes to the franchise quarterback at all. They just can't get it right. Even in drafts where they had decided to pass on the quarterback position, they end up getting it wrong. Go back to even the Marino draft, they had taken Ken O'Brien, ended up taking the wrong quarterback for that matter. taking Ken O'Brien instead of Dan Marino. We go to the early 90s where the Falcons ended up taking Brett Favre before he even fell to the Jets, so they missed out on him the first time around. So seems like every single time we get to this point and the Jets are looking for a quarterback, they find a way to get it wrong. What is to make me think, or make any Jet fan think for that matter, that this time around they're going to get it right? Think about that for a second. What makes anybody think the Jets are going to get it right this time? By recycling Sam Darnold, kicking him out the door, let's bring in another rookie quarterback, reset the rookie contract for that matter, so the Jets are not on the hook for the $25 million on the end of Darnold's contract, which they don't have to pick up at the end of next season anyway. They could let him go so he can be a free agent. Look what the Bears did with Mitchell Trubisky, and well, we have to do it all over again. 3-4 years waiting to find out whether this quarterback is going to be the guy, and end up finding out the Jets are wrong once again. That's the pattern the Jets have been in for seemingly forever. And that's what, if you are a Jet fan, that's got to be the biggest holdup for you right now at this point. Especially since the team missed out on an opportunity with the tanking for Trevor Lawrence. They will obviously not get him. He's going to Jacksonville. So that leads to this big debate. Do they take Fields? Do they take Wilson? A lot of people love Zach Wilson out of BYU. Look, Wilson had a great year last year. 33 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, threw for 3,700 yards. Has a very thin frame. He is 6'3". He's tall enough, but a very thin frame, 210 pounds. Again, had a great year. Has proved this year to be more accurate and improve his deep ball this year and he certainly worked on that this year compared to the last couple of years. Really improved big time this past season. Do I think he is at the comparison that I'm seeing right now? This is what's going on with Wilson. It's really a lot of hysteria. Some people are so on the Zach Wilson bandwagon, they're comparing him to Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers, which I think is completely ridiculous and unfair. I mean, nobody knew that Patrick Mahomes was going to be Patrick Mahomes when he was in the draft. And he fell in the draft, ended up getting into a great situation, obviously, with Kansas City. Aaron Rodgers fell all the way to 25 in his draft, 25th pick, when he got picked by the Green Bay Packers. Nobody knew that he was going to turn into the superstar that he has become as well. So to make those comparisons, and I hate when people make comparisons on quarterbacks, I really do, or anybody for that matter. Generally speaking, it doesn't always turn out that way. It doesn't always turn out roses in that direction. So I think when you look at Zach Wilson, you just got to say, how can this quarterback, if he is indeed the franchise, the guy the Jets are looking at, is he any better than what Sam Darnold is? That's the big question. A lot of people have also had that debate as well, and people have been on the side of saying that he is no better than Sam Darnold, and the Jets are better off sticking with Darnold. When I look at the numbers here, yes, I see a quarterback who did improve this year, but my biggest holdup is I look at that schedule and look at the teams they played this year in BYU. They didn't play virtually anybody. They only played 2 teams that were in the top 25. One of them they lost to in Coastal Carolina. And that was really it. They played a really soft schedule. When you're talking about teams like Western Kentucky, Texas State, Northern Alabama. I mean, these are not good teams they're playing, and he's lighting them up, putting up big numbers. I mean, threw for 4 touchdowns on Texas State, threw 4 touchdowns on Northern Alabama. I mean, he's lighting it up against these bad football teams. And against Coastal Carolina, struggled a little bit, did throw a pick, but you really want to go off of that, and then you take a look what he did the year before, injury-riddled year, shoulder surgery, hand surgery as well, and he struggled, did Zach Wilson, in 2019, threw 11 touchdowns and 9 interceptions, including in the last 2 games of the year, that year in 2019, where he threw 2 picks against San Diego State in a 13-3 loss, and 2 picks, no touchdowns, in a 38-34 loss to Hawaii in a bowl game. So no touchdowns, 4 picks in his last 2 games of 2019. Again, granted injury-riddled year, Certainly became a different player this past year. Do I really want to? Do I really want to risk the number 2 overall pick on Zach Wilson? I think that's the big question that the Jets have to answer for themselves. Now, Justin Fields, again, I was impressed by what he did in that championship game against Clemson. Showed a lot of guts, played very well. That, again, was, granted, that was probably his best game of his career, if not the entire season this year. And a lot of people thought he kind of took a step back this year. Now, the year before, 41 touchdowns, 3 picks. This year, 22 touchdowns, 6 picks. He's, again, another player with a very good deep arm. But my issue with him is that he does get hit a lot, takes a lot of sacks. And that would be certainly is a big problem. So that's why when I look at this thing at the quarterback position, it's just too much of a gamble in my mind. The Jets have done this year after year, after every other couple of years. As I said, 3 years they do this, where they go out there and they try to, throw the dart and hope it lands on a bullseye, and then they get the right quarterback. I don't know if either Fields or Wilson are going to be that guy. If either one ends up getting drafted by the Jets and they light it up, let's just say the Jets take Zach Wilson, and he lights it up big time, and he proves everybody that compares him to Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes right, I will come on here and say, hey, you know what? I was wrong. I shouldn't have been down on this guy. This guy's legit. I will come on here and say that. But until I see it, I gotta have some doubts and have some concerns, saying, maybe the Jets need to consider doing something else. So yes, Sam Darnold, and this goes back to Darnold now. Sam Darnold has struggled his 3 years in the NFL, no doubt about it. Hasn't been helped by the fact that he's had a bad head coach the last 2 years in Adam Gase, has had no help from anybody on the field, and played with an offensive line that was non-existent the last few years, has had no real weapons to speak of anywhere on the field. And I know he did have Le'Veon Bell, but that did not work out at all. It was like mixing oil and water with him here, and it was well with Adam Gase's offense. It didn't work at all. So he had nothing going for him. So do I really want to give up on this player at 23 years old? Do I really feel that if I'm the Jets that I've seen enough say, let's just wash our hands of this and move on? Or give it another year at Darnold, as bad as it sounds, get another veteran quarterback in here. I know the Jets still have Flacco on the roster, but chances are he probably won't be here on the roster come the summer. Get another veteran quarterback in here to compete with Darnold for the quarterback job, and in turn, either trade the number 2 pick to a team that is desperate, or just draft the tackle, Penei Sewell, draft him, put him at right tackle, and do everything you can with your draft picks to beef up this team. And that's really one thing that I took from Joe Douglas's press conference, is that he really values his draft picks, and that's why I think it's probably unlikely that the Jets will go out and get a Deshaun Watson unless they feel they really have every opportunity to do so, and they have really no choice but to do so, and they can still replenish the roster. He seems dead set on keeping draft picks. If I'm the Jets, I would just do everything I can to beef up this team. Offensive line, receiver, they need corners, they need everything else in the field other than just the quarterback position. And yes, as much as he has struggled this year, in the last several years, run it back with Darnold one more time, and if it doesn't work out, he is a free. You don't have to pick up the option, and you let him walk. That's tough to do. So the Chicago Bears are doing that right now with Mitchell Trubisky. And hey, look, if either Fields or Wilson becomes a superstar, then we're all gonna. Then obviously this would sound ridiculous for that matter. So it is a huge gamble. I'm glad I only have to make that decision myself. That's why Joe Douglas is being paid millions upon millions of dollars to make that decision. But when I look at this, and I listen to all these comparisons, and I listen to all the stuff that's going on right there, I sit there and say to myself, you know what, the Jets are just better off beefing up this team as much as they possibly can, rather than recycling another quarterback for another rookie quarterback, who 3 or 4 years from now, we got to wait again to determine whether this guy is the real deal or not. It's getting ridiculous after a while. At some point, you think the Jets got to hit a home run with one of these, but man, it's just I don't know what to tell you right now as far as the Jets are concerned. Just a spinning cycle spinning cycle that they need to get off of as far as the quarterback carousel is concerned. We'll see how things pan out here, folks. Obviously, anything that breaks, anything that happens, I'll do the best I can to jump on here and we'll discuss it as well. Jump in the comments section here below, folks. What do you think the Jets should do? Should they stick with Darnold? Should they draft Zach Wilson? Should they draft Justin Fields? Do you think they should just trade these picks to Houston and go out there and get Deshaun Watson? Leave your thoughts below what you think should happen here for the New York Jets as their quarterback conundrum gets bigger and bigger and bigger. We'll talk next time, folks. Remember, follow us on social media at OpenMicNJ on Twitter, Facebook.com/OpenMicProgram. And remember, like and subscribe right here to the Sports Talk Nation.